Hey, my name's Logan. I'm 27 years old, and I've been working as the lead technical engineer at a major construction firm in Seattle for the past 3 years. It's one of those big corporations that builds high-rises, bridges, and everything in between, places where deadlines are sacred and mistakes can cost millions. I like to think of myself as adaptable, the kind of guy who can roll with whatever comes my way. I grew up in a small town outside Tacoma, where my dad was a carpenter and my mom worked shifts at a local diner. They taught me to fix things with my hands and keep my head down when the going gets tough. After college, I bounced around a few entry-level jobs, pouring concrete on sites, drafting blueprints in dingy offices before landing here. Now, I live in a modest one-bedroom apartment in the suburbs, with a view of the Puget Sound on clear days. My routine is simple: black coffee in the morning, gym after work, and maybe a beer with friends on weekends. No drama, no complications. At least that's how it was until recently. My direct boss is Cassandra Wright. She's 32, single, and the project director who's earned a reputation around the office for being as sharp as she is unyielding. Everyone calls her the ice queen behind her back, not because she's mean, but because she's all about precision and rules. Nothing gets past her without approval, and she's got this way of looking at you that makes you feel like she's already 3 steps ahead. I remember when I first met her during my interview. She was dressed in a tailored black suit, her dark hair pulled back in a sleek ponytail, and her green eyes scanning my resume like it was a blueprint with hidden flaws. I admired her back then, the way she commanded the room without raising her voice, how she turned chaotic projects into successes. But admiration turned to tension pretty quick. Working under her meant constant scrutiny. She'd question every decision, demand revisions on reports I'd spent nights perfecting, and enforce protocols that sometimes felt more like shackles than guidelines. And her one unbreakable rule: everything had to align with her vision. No deviations, no shortcuts. This latest project was the biggest I'd ever led, a massive commercial development on unstable ground near the waterfront. The soil was weak, prone to shifting, and the timeline was brutal. 6 months to completion, with the budget already slashed by 15% due to supply chain issues. My team and I had been grinding for 3 weeks straight, pulling all-nighters at the site, testing samples, and running simulations. I'd come up with a new technical approach, using reinforced micropiles instead of the standard foundation piers. It was safer, cut costs by about 10%, and shaved 2 weeks off the schedule. But it deviated from the original design Cassandra had pitched to the board. When I presented it in our weekly meeting, she shut it down hard. "Logan, this isn't what we agreed on," she'd said, her voice calm but edged like steel. "Stick to the approved plans. We don't have room for experiments." I pushed back, not out of ego, but because I knew the old way was risky. "Cassandra, we've run the numbers. The ground won't hold with the original setup. This isn't an experiment. It's necessary." The room went silent. My team shifted uncomfortably, and she just stared at me, her expression unreadable. After that, the friction built. Emails flew back and forth, her demanding revisions, me defending the data. Whispers started in the break room, people saying I was challenging her authority, that I was on thin ice. I didn't care. My team trusted me, and I wasn't going to let them take the fall if things went south. That afternoon, after another grueling meeting where she'd overridden my input in front of everyone, she summoned me to her office. The door clicked shut behind me, sealing us in the glass-walled space that overlooked the bustling floor below. Soundproof, private, perfect for what was coming. She slammed a stack of blueprints onto her desk, papers scattering like shrapnel. "Why are you still pushing this?" she demanded, her eyes flashing. "I made it clear. Revert to the original design." I stood there, hands clenched at my sides, trying to keep my cool. "Because it's the right call, Cassandra. We've analyzed the soil reports. If we stick to your plan, we'll overrun the budget and delay everything. My team's out there busting their asses." "Don't lecture me on teamwork," she cut in, stepping around her desk toward me. Her heels clicked sharply on the floor. "I'm the one accountable here. My decisions are final." The air between us crackled. She was close now, close enough that I could see the faint lines of fatigue around her eyes, smell the subtle citrus of her perfume. I took a step forward, my voice low. "This isn't about ego. It's about doing what's best for the project." She raised her hand, pointing a finger at my chest, her breath coming faster. "If you take one more step, I'll fire you." Time froze. 3 weeks of exhaustion, of being doubted, of fighting for what I believed in. It all surged up. And beneath it, something else. The unspoken tension that had simmered between us for months. The late nights debating over coffee, the way her gaze lingered sometimes, the pull I felt but never acknowledged. I stepped forward. Slowly, deliberately. No turning back. "Then fire me," I said, my voice steady. In one motion, I closed the gap, pulling her toward me. My lips met hers in a fierce, explosive kiss, a release of all the pent-up frustration, anger, and desire I'd buried. She stiffened at first, her body rigid against mine, but she didn't push away, didn't pull back. For a heartbeat that stretched forever, the world narrowed to just us. The heat of her mouth, the way her hands gripped my arms, not quite resisting. When I finally released her, we were both breathing hard. Her cheeks were flushed, her eyes wide with a mix of shock and something unnameable. "We need to calm down," I said, stepping back. "Talk like adults, not boss and subordinate." She didn't speak, just stood there, her lips slightly parted, her face red. I turned and left the room, my heart pounding like a drum. As I walked back to my desk, my mind raced. That kiss, it had shattered every boundary, but part of me wondered if it had started something neither of us could stop. But when I got back to my desk, the adrenaline from that kiss started to fade, replaced by a knot of regret twisting in my gut. What the hell had I just done? Crossed every professional line, risked my job, and for what? A moment of impulse that could blow up everything I'd built. I sank into my chair, staring at my computer screen, trying to focus on the blueprints in front of me. My team was counting on me to fight for that revised plan, not get distracted by whatever that was with Cassandra. Then my phone buzzed. An email notification. I glanced at it absently, expecting another update from the site crew. But the sender was blank. No name, just a generic address that looked like it was from some throwaway account. The subject line was empty. I opened it anyway, figuring it might be spam. My blood ran cold. There, attached to the message, was a photo. Crystal clear, no blur, no shadows hiding the details. It was me and Cassandra in her office, locked in that kiss. The angle was from outside the glass wall. Someone must have snapped it through the hallway, maybe with a phone held discreetly. Her hands on my arms, my face tilted down to hers. Undeniable. Below the image, just one line. "I know everything." I stared at the screen, my mind racing. Who could have taken this? The office was buzzing after the meeting, people milling around. It could be anyone. A jealous colleague who'd seen us argue too many times. A rival from another department gunning for my spot. Or hell, even someone from the board's inner circle keeping tabs. Construction is cutthroat. I'd heard stories of corporate espionage, but this felt personal. I forwarded the email to my personal account, then deleted it from the work inbox, my hands shaking. No way I was letting this sit on the company server. But deleting it didn't erase the panic rising in my chest. If that photo got out, it wouldn't just be gossip. Cassandra's reputation as the untouchable director would shatter. She'd be accused of favoritism, or worse, harassment claims could